Hello YouTube, we're now in the part 2 of Human Lie Detector. Now we're coming to the section 4. In first 3 sections we said basic things about lying that cover interpersonal reactions, emotional states and body language. Now, what is said in actual verbal content. Liar uses your words to make his point. Now remember, when you're asked, did you cheat on me? If you're lying, the most probable answer will, no, I didn't cheat on you. But, in addition, when a suspect uses a contraction, it wasn't me, or it was not me, statistically there is 60% that he is truthful. But if he says, no, I didn't lie to you, if he asks very long, he is not shortened, there is bigger probability that he is lying to you. He may stonewall, giving an impression that his mind is made up. This is often an attempt to limit your challenges to his position. If someone says right up front that he positively won't budge, it means one thing: he knows he can be swayed. He needs to tell you this so you won't ask, because he knows he'll cave in. The confident person uses phrases like, I'm sorry, this is much the best we can do. He will just stonewall, like a stone. Now, Freudian sleep is also a possibility, but this is a rare situation. In most situations, your liar will depersonalize his answer by offering his belief on the subject instead of answering directly. A liar offers abstract assurances as evidence of his innocence in a specific instance. For example, did you cheat on me? And you hear, you know I'm against that sort of thing. I think it morally reprehensible. It's against my religion. He will keep adding more information until he's sure that he has sold you on his story. The guilty are uncomfortable with silence. He speaks to fill the gap left by the silence. He may imply an answer but never state it directly, so my advice: be silent for a period of time. Silence is something that definitively kills them. Silent and correct questions or correct answers can destroy them. Section 5. How something is said. Deceitful response to questions regarding beliefs and attitudes take longer to think up. However, how fast does the rest of the sentence follow the initial one-word response? In truthful statements, a fast no or yes is followed quickly by an explanation. If the person is being deceitful, the rest of the sentence may come more slowly because he needs time to think up an explanation. If someone is not lying, he will tell yes and explanation. But if he is, he needs some more time, more period, and body reactions are late. Watch out for reactions that are all out of proportion to the question. May repeat points that he has already made. May also be reluctant to use words that convey attachment and ownership or possessiveness. For example, that car is opposed to my car. That pen is opposed to my pen. The person who is lying may leave out pronouns and speak in a monotonous and inexpressive voice. When a person is making a truthful statement, he emphasizes the pronoun as much as or more than the rest of the sentence. But he will not, he will not give more emphasis on pronouns. Words may be garbled and spoken softly, and syntax and grammar may be off. Again, if syntax and grammar are off, that can also mean that a person has language problems, or maybe from other part of the world, or not native language, I mean. But if you know, for example, that he is Bulgarian, and he speaks Bulgarian, and there are so many problems, that should be suspicious. In other words, his sentences will likely be muddled rather than emphasized. Statements sound an awful lot like questions, indicating that he is seeking a reassurance. Voice, head and eyes lift at the end of their statement. Now, Section 6 is going through the psychological profile. We often see the world as a reflection of ourselves. Don't do this. If you're being accused of something, check your accuser's veracity. Watch out for those people who are always telling you just how corrupt the rest of the world is. Beware of those asking you if you believe him. They may respond, "You don't believe me, do you?" Most people who tell the truth expect to be believed. And generally, as I have already mentioned to you, manipulator always seeks for a reflection of himself, in most cases if he is inexperienced. Catch them on this mistake. Now, look at whether his focus is internal or external. When a person is confident about what he's saying, he's more interested in you, understanding him, and less interested in how he appears to you. If he has internal focus, that means that he goes more on psychology and inner look, I mean what is inside, and external look is more if he is sympathetic or not to you, if he's looking good. If he has internal focus, there is less chances that he is lying. In a liar's story, he will usually not give the point of view of a third party. To illustrate giving the point of view of someone else, my roommate was so shocked that I would. There is always a third party content. In relating a story, a liar often leaves out the negative aspects, unless the story is used to explain why he was delayed or had to cancel plans. The story of a vacation, for example, should have both positive and negative aspects of what happened. A liar willingly answers your questions, but asks none on his own. For example, during their first intimate encounter, Randy asks his new girlfriend if she's ever been tested for AIDS. She responds with, "Oh yes, certainly," and continues on a bit about annual checkups, giving blood, etc. And then nothing. If she was concerned about her health, as her answer implied, then she would have asked him the same question. The liar is often unaware that coming across as truthful means both answering and asking questions. A liar, in most cases, never asks questions. So, I hope you liked the second part of this tutorial. I will also record a third. Hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, apply this in real life, and enjoy. Greetings.